welcome everybody. Tonight we've got some interesting information that Guy Cohen is going to be showing us, how you can follow the insiders in the market. Guy is a very innovative financial trader. He is the creator and originator of the OVI indicator, Flag Trader, and Option Easy. He's also the author of best-selling trading books such as Options Made Easy, The Bible of Option Strategies, and Volatile Markets Made Easy. So tonight we're looking for some very good information. Guy, welcome, and we're anxious to see your material.
Thanks for that very nice introduction, Steve. Can I just make sure that everyone can hear me first? Just put up your hands. Don't make a comment, but just raise your hands. It's on the right of your screen. There you go. I think we have the top here. Okay, so welcome. Just for administrative purposes, I have to say that if we're going to go through stocks either now or in the question period after the Q&A section afterwards, that we're not giving advice per se, although obviously we'll be talking about some potentially live situations. So just to give you some background, my journey started about 19 years ago in the world of finance and trading, and it all really started through adversity. I had a nasty illness that I had, and I didn't even actually know whether I was going to be able to work in a proper job, and so I had to go and find out exactly how I was going to eke a living. And that took me to doing a finance MBA. And from there, I specialized in options from an academic perspective at first. But I got pretty good at trading these options, and it enabled me to travel. And actually, you see these little pictures here, pictures of me actually in Sydney from about 18 months ago. And I used to trade, wherever I was, I would trade, and it would be very nice, whether I was in the Caribbean or skiing or in the United States, the UK, Europe, you name it, I traded wherever I went. And it was eking me a very nice living. And what I then set about doing was systematizing the things that I was doing and getting more and more specialized in the things I was doing. So that led to various software products for my own use that I licensed to other people, and then I started to get recognized from the books that I've been asked to write, and I then got asked to do things for the exchanges like the ISE, NYSE, creating options algorithms and indicators with them and for them, and assessing the value of their data. And all that has led to really mastering the subject and making the connection between trading stocks and using not just the standard stock patterns that most people use, but also using options information to ascertain whether or not there is some insider type of activity with a stock. Because if you've got power with that, then you have a unique edge that no one else has got, because options information is very difficult to collect and organize and actually decipher what's going on with it. So what we've created is what we think is an outstanding trading method, and there are 4 components of that. First of all, you have to have an edge if you're going to trade in an outstanding way. That means you have to have an advantage. Secondly, that method must be simple. Even if behind the scenes is pretty complicated and sophisticated, the actual method of implementing the trades must be simple. It's also got to be quick, because if it's not quick, you're not going to bother to do it, and it's also got to be safe, because my appetite for risk is low, and so my trading systems are low risk, but we have to manage that with potentially high returns as well. I'll show you how we set about doing that, because what I'm going to show you tonight is system developed for my personal use, and what I do is I finance it by licensing it to other people. So we have a very symbiotic relationship when we do this. And what it means as well is it means that we can place trades wherever we are in the world and have a pretty good life. And also now that extends to placing trades on tablets and on smartphones, and it really is a very flexible way of being able to make some money, again, safely. So where I'm going to start is here. There are 2 types of guided discretionary trader, and I make the point of guided discretionary. Guided discretionary traders, probably like you, and often like me, follow a particular method, but we place our trades independently. So we follow a particular skill, a particular method, but we place our trades independently. Now, there are 2 types, basically. The first type has enough time to do some homework, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour a day, or even longer. That includes me. That's why you see my picture up here, right here. But the second type has only a limited time for homework. And you also see my picture there as well, because sometimes I do have plenty of time for it, and sometimes I have less time to do it. Sometimes I may only have 10 minutes to do what I've got to do, be on top of the markets, and then I want to go and do something else. So at different times, we may be representing the different types of trader out there, the ones that have got time and the ones that don't have much time. So in developing systems for myself, I had to develop something that could be used in very quick time. And there are many other people using this approach. Here's a guy in England, in Manchester up north, and he's trebled his account in 1 month in June, and he's using quite leveraged situations like spread betting. But again, we've got people all over the world doing this. There's a guy in Virginia, Abraham, he's become a friend now, but he took an account using this guided discretionary method I'm going to talk about tonight from $10,000 to $40,000 in 24 months, and also he got to know me during that time and knows that I am very much here for everyone if they want to do what I do. Now, there are a number of challenges for traders out there. The real major challenge is that traders lack a lot of confidence because typically they realize deep down they don't have an edge, they don't have an advantage, and therefore they don't have a clear plan, and therefore why bother to take the time? If you don't have an advantage or a plan, you're just using a slot machine. So the solution is you've got to have a proven edge. Easier said than done. But if you do have a proven edge, then you will have confidence in your plan so that you then make the time. Now, that plan has got to be such that you have an advantage which must inherently be low risk and high potential reward. That's the only plan that I will go for. You're not going to find me going for like 95% win rates when my winning is tiny and my potential loss is huge. That's not the way that I go about doing things. So it must be low risk, high potential reward, more winners than losers, and it's got to take minutes per day, and it must be able to be done at any time of day. So I might be able to place my trades out of market hours, but I don't want to be stuck to say, I can only trade at 4 a.m. or something silly like you get in the Forex markets. And again, it's all about having an edge, having a simple method, or being able to implement it in a simple way, having it to be quick, and making it safe. So that's the basic premise of what we're doing. Now tonight, what we're also going to do is I'm going to give you a $10 challenge that you can make money safely in this way with opportunity for windfall profits. That's the key here. There's no point in trading safely if you're only going to just about cover your costs with every trade that you make. If you win a particular trade, there's got to have an opportunity for windfall profits, and I'll teach you about that as we go along. And it's got to take roughly about 10 minutes a day. Why are we taking such a little time to do it? Because we're very, very focused. We're not trying to do all things for all people. We're very focused, and that's the way that you should be as well, because people who specialize, only people who focus, who end up making all the money anyway. If you try and do 20 different methods in trading, you will just be confused, and that's no good. So we focus on the stock market. We focus on insiders or insider type activity, and I'll tell you about that, and we focus on flag patterns. Let's just go through those one by one. Why do I concentrate on the stock market? Very simply, there's a picture of Warren Buffett. The stock market has created more fortunes than any other financial instrument. It's very simple. So why not focus on the market that is most understood by people, is not just a playground for professionals, but there's more fortunes created than any other financial instrument. So that's stocks. Now, what about insiders? Well, it goes without saying that the most profitable players are informed players or insiders. Now, that doesn't have to mean that there's some Gordon Gekko types with insider knowledge, and it doesn't have to be the dodgy kind of insiders. It can just be people who have knowledge of a bit of industry or have knowledge of the way that they trade in terms of a very specialized way. So it doesn't have to be dodgy with insiders, but we are going to be looking at those people who look like they might have that kind of information. We're not doing anything wrong by doing that. And why flag patterns? Well, because flag patterns are one of the most profitable chart patterns out there and advocated by legends like William O'Neill. So we're focusing on three things that give us automatically a great chance of doing something pretty good. So we're going to focus on stocks, we're going to focus on flags, and we're going to focus on insider type activity. The question is, how are we going to do it? Well, we do it, or I do it, by buying data, and then I create a lot of value with that data. So I buy options data, but you don't have to do anything with options. You don't have to know anything about options to do what I'm going to teach you to do tonight. That's the beauty of what we're doing. So some of you may want to do it with options. That's fine. But if you don't, that's not a problem, because I'm not teaching that anyway. I'm teaching you how to trade stocks using really interesting options data that you can interpret very easily. I'll show you that in the next few minutes. Now, how do I do that? Well, the information that I get from the exchanges, I can do something with that. The exchanges themselves, they cannot do that, because that would potentially be encouraging the following of potential insider trading. So they can't do it, but I, as a third party, I can. So let's talk about trading like an insider. There are three steps. First of all, we follow the smartest money. Now, for that, beg your pardon, kind of frog in my throat there. For that, the OVI is an indicator that I have created, and that is looking at options transactions. It's kind of like having a spy on the inside. It's something that's under the radar. Hardly anyone can see this information and decipher anything from it, because there's just too much of it. But we have a way of making it much more simple. Secondly, we focus on safe chart patterns. Now, the flags, if you like, are like a spy plane to make sure that you're trading in the right terrain. And they, again, the beautiful thing about these patterns is that they set up a trading plan that can inherently be low risk, but also high reward. I will show you that too. The next part is the trading plan itself. It's the ability to take action safely and with clarity. So those are three steps to trading like an insider. When you do trade like an insider, you get to pick up patterns like this. If you look at the blue bits of shading, I'm going to follow my mouse around here. The blue bits of shading, we have flag type patterns. Now, flag type patterns I'll show you in just a few minutes, but here's Goldman Sachs earlier on this year giving us many opportunities to get in and buy this stock and make really easy, good profits with it. And underneath this chart, you have this unique indicator, which I'll be showing you. It's my OVI indicator showing you what the options people are doing as well. We look for a confluence of both of those. I'll show you that in the next few minutes. So, step one, follow the smartest money. Now, the fact is that many of the smartest traders hang out in the options market. Now, we can follow what they do, but you don't have to know anything about options. Now, it sounds great, but how do we do that? Well, when you look at options chains, you generally see this. This is an options chain. It looks very confusing. You look at all these numbers and letters and figures, and it looks terrifying. And most people, when they look at that, they kind of think they're looking at something that resembles the Matrix, and they have a very confused look on their face. But what I've done is I've taken that data and I've created just a single line from it. And that line goes from a minimum of -1 up to a maximum of +1. When it's in the positive territory and hanging around in that positive area, then we might be looking at something that could be bullish. If it's in the negative area and hanging around that negative area, then we might be looking at something that could be bearish. Now, the OVI stands for, loosely, the Options Volatility Indicator, or Index. But the OVI simplifies everything into one line. So let's have a look at a chart of Goldman Sachs that I've blanked out. And what you see underneath the chart is the OVI. This is something we've got a patent on, or patent pending on, where we're showing options transaction activity underneath a stock chart. This is very, very useful. I'll show you what it means. Now, not knowing very much about all this, just guess for me here. I'm going to have a look at see your hands here. So I'm going to remove all your hands. Now, for the first half of the chart, would you think that the stock would be moving in a positive direction or a negative direction? Put your hands up if you think it might be moving in a negative direction. The OVI here is under 0. It's between 0 and -1. And obviously that's a very easy question. I know you've answered it there. And then the same question here for the second half of the chart. Second half of the chart, as by the way you can see, is absolutely correct. So you've got the trend following or going downwards, and the OVI is mainly negative. And for the second half of the chart, what would you think is going on with that? Would you suspect that these charts might be trending in the opposite direction, in the upward direction? Well, of course, you're right. Because when you have something that's trending, the OVI is typically in line with that trend. That doesn't mean you know how to trade it yet, but that's a really good start. This is just Goldman Sachs, a nice big stock with lots of liquidity, and just look at the correlation. The correlation is there for everyone to see, and it happens over and over and over again. Now, here's a great situation here. When we first started looking at this, this was back in 2008, I was doing a lot of research on it, collecting the data, and this happened. This is Bear Stearns. Now, I don't know whether you can hear what's about to be said here by Jim Cramer up here, but at this point in this particular chart, Jim Cramer, I think it was on about March the 8th, said that you should never, do not sell Bear. In fact, if anything, you should be buying Bear Stearns. Now, that's what he was saying. What I was noticing with my new indicator at the time was that the options transactions had plummeted or had gone very negative. So the OVI, which is a representation of option sentiment, was going very negative on this particular stock. And he was saying, no, buy. It doesn't make sense to me seeing what was going on here. So I don't know whether we can hear him here. I don't know whether you can hear what I'm hearing. But he's saying, don't take your money out of Bear. Don't be silly. I don't know whether you could hear all that going on. That's happening in my headphones. But he's going on and ranting and saying, don't take your money out of Bear. Don't be silly. That would be silly. Okay, so we're going to come back to this stock in just a minute at a time. But I want to show you a couple of other things. First of all, that this stock is resting at one major support level underneath about $69, and it's just broken through another support level at about $76. So it's going down, it's broken through one support level, it's almost at another support level, and the OVI indicator is very negative and seemingly staying there. And he's saying, no, if anything, it's a buying opportunity because it's going to get taken over. We will come back to that in just a second. Step 2 is the chart pattern. I focus on breaks of support and resistance, clear levels of support and resistance, and I also focus on flag patterns. Why? Because advocates like William O'Neill and Nicholas Darvas made these patterns famous, and they can be traded with low risk and high reward. So let's just have a quick support and resistance lesson here. Resistance is basically, in its most basic form, formed by a previous high from which you can then draw a horizontal line, creating this invisible ceiling, and when we break through that invisible ceiling, we may have a buying opportunity. Similarly, support is formed by a floor, which is formed by a previous low in its most simplest form, and when that floor is broken, with this horizontal line projecting from that low, when that low is broken, it may give us the opportunity to short, okay? So, and it gives us the ability to create low risk and high reward set-up trades. Now, let's go back to the Bear Stearns situation here. We've just broken through one level of support. We're approaching another level of support right here. We've broken through 76. We're now approaching 69, and the OVI is showing you with the hidden transactions of options traders. It's showing you it's very negative. Which way is this going to go? He thinks it's going up. This is actually what happened. It then took out the next level at $69 and then literally went down to about $4 before then JP Morgan did indeed take it over, did indeed take that company over, but not at the levels I think that Jim Cramer was thinking that it would be. And in the meantime, look at this. In the meantime, as this all happens, the OVI is negative, stays negative, mainly rooted down to the spot. And I've got to tell you that the volume on this particular stock only started kicking in literally in the last few days that Bear Stearns was actually alive. And the OVI, the options transaction, started about a week before the volume of the stock actually kicked in. So the OVI reacted 2 weeks before Bear Stearns collapsed, creating 6,000 points or $60 of easy profit. The volume of Bear Stearns only kicked in just about the last few days of that stock's life. So again, it gave you a huge advantage in this. Now, with flag patterns, the whole point of flag patterns is trading with the trend, swimming with the tide. There are two types. There's bull flags. Bull flags happen when the main trend is up, and then we get a sideways movement in the stock, and bear flags characterized by the main trend being down, and then a sideways or slightly upward movement in the stock before it then resumes its trend. And that's the key to this. We're trading with the trend on a breakout. So trend is upward with bull flags and downwards with bear flags. And the whole idea of this is low risk and high reward, and setting up a trading plan that will give us that situation. Again, I'm very, very focused on what I do. I stick to a couple of things, but by doing that, we do really well. Now, let's look at a bull flag. The ideal bull flag will look something like this. I mean, I wish they could all be as neat and tidy as this. But what you get is aggressive bidding. So let's say the stock is 50. Someone really wants to get hold of this and bids 50.2. And then a seller will then sell it at 50.2, driving that price upwards. Then what happens is the buyers and sellers kind of get meet in the middle. Volume might go down a bit as that happens. The stock starts to drift away and a bit sideways against the major trend. We like that because as it does so, it then sets up an area of resistance within the flag when the stock then starts getting attractive again for people. That then drives up the price as the bidding gets more aggressive, and as it goes through this little mini resistance area, we can then buy it, creating a low risk, high reward situation. So that's the way we trade the bull flag in very simple terms. With bear flags, it's exactly the same, but just in the other direction. Aggressive selling, meaning that, let's say the stock's 50 and you want to get rid of it, you might say, well, I'll sell it for 49.7, and some buyer comes in and that drives the price down from 50 to 49.7. Buyers and sellers then might just meet in the middle after a while. Volume might go down. The stock goes slightly against that major trend. That's ideal because now it creates an area of mini support for us through which, if aggressive selling starts up again, then we might want to short this situation, again creating a low risk and high reward situation. So these are wonderful patterns, and if you get them right, then they're really, really good. What flags give you is that low risk, high reward situation potential. It also gives you confidence. Here's Abraham again in Virginia, and in 1 month alone, he almost trebled his money. And he's talking about confidence here. He's talking about the understanding to do something quite simple, really. And one of the things that we do is we help you find these things. So, simple test. With what you've seen so far, we're going to ask two questions. One, is the OBI positive or negative? And two, let's identify a likely next move. What I would say first is I want to ask a quick question first. Who would like to know what the combination, the ideal combination is for assessing this? Who wants to know what the combination, I would say, between the OBI and the stock pattern is? Let's see, there are quite a few patterns popping up there. I will tell you the ideal combination. You can write this down as well. What we're looking for is a bull flag or an approach of resistance together with a positive OBI for around 5 days or more. Or, that's for the bullish. Or, you want a bear flag or approach of support with a negative OBI for hanging around for 5 days or more. And this is what gives you the edge, which is simple, quick, and safe. It's almost like one professional trader called it forensic. It's like we're looking for the patterns that do what they do, but we're looking at the evidence of volume, and we're looking at the evidence of what the options transactions are to make sure that there is real substantial evidence that that thing could actually make a move, and there's position building going on. So, here's Goldman Sachs. This is towards the end of last year. This was one of the easiest things. I mean, let's put up your hand. What have we got here? Put up your hand when you're ready to see what I see. Who thinks we got a bull flag here? Where my mouse is. Let's have a bull flag. Hands up for bull flags. There it is. As it's gone up, and now it's gone sideways. And now, what I will tell you is that this plane that won't always be on your chart, and that's just for now. And then what we've got here is a positive OBI. Do we have a positive OBI for a few days? Do we have it for a few months? Well, we've actually got it for a few months here. This is a very easy setup. It doesn't really get any better than that. You don't often get an OBI that's been positive for all this time, and then such a perfect-looking bull flag as well. And what happened from there is it bumbled around a bit, and then it broke out for one flag, another flag, and another bull flag, and formed another 3 bull flags on its way up, and eventually the party's over, but you've walked away from that party taking decent profit. I mean, $25 gain in 35 days. So if you're in the UK and can spread bet, that's a 2,500 point gain, which is very handy. So that's the way it works. Here was ATML a little earlier this year again, or very end of last year. And again, it forms this cup and handle. And again, this is a flag type pattern here. Now, the OVI on this one isn't quite so obvious. It's not as obvious. But again, we have a pattern here, about 560, 565, and we have an OVI that has barely been negative in months. Again, it's been high, but it's still always just above that line, above that 0 line, always in positive territory, apart from that tiny little nick here. So that, again, gives us an opportunity that if it breaks out, that's part of our trading plan, if it breaks out, we might be in buying the stock above the area of the flag. And again, that gave a 17% gain in 24 days. Again, a very simple setup. That's all we're looking for is setting up. Now, what about support and resistance where there may or may not be a flag? Well, here's Bank of America, again, near the end of last year, and we've got, again, months and months of the OVI being positive. Guess what? It's a financial stock. It was doing the same kind of thing as Goldman Sachs. A lot of them were doing this at the time. And what we had here is not such a clear flag at the end of November, but we definitely had, who can just give me a hand here? Just put up your hand if you can see that where my mouse is, you definitely have an area of resistance right here, formed by the previous high. What you've also got, and you can keep your hands up if you agree with this, is you've got a perpetually positive OVI reading as well. The options traders are building positions in this stock. That's why it's positive for such a long time. Now, if you missed that breakout, that's okay, because it went and formed another one just above 1050 up here. A nice bull flag. It's broken resistance with a good clean breakout. OVI is still positive. Got a nice flag up here. So you had 2 bites of this particular cherry, and up it went again, just went up, 16.5% in 24 days. Again, that's great stuff. And again, the way we manage our trade ensures that you get to keep hold of the profits. Let's have a quick answer question. How many people here have let a really good profit turn into a loss? I just want to give you, have a hand up for that one. Not with my method. You do not do that with my method, and I will show you how that happens as well. Just a simple trend line will stop that terrible habit of letting good profits turn into losses. And it's only because you haven't had a proper plan that you've allowed that to happen. Here's Morgan Stanley. Again, similar situation. Again, the financial stocks were all doing something similar. Here's your cup and handle. So it's a very powerful pattern of cup and handle, but it's essentially a bowl with a flag on it at the end of it. And it works both ways. But here's your flag pattern. Here's our positive OVI, not just for 5 days, but for months and months at a time. And obviously that then takes a good rise upwards as well. Just really simple stuff. You don't have to be finding these every day to make really decent profits in the markets. And you can actually be quite lazy with this method. But what we're looking to do is specialize and really get good at one thing only. So we've got step 1. We've got the inside scoop with the OVI. We've got our safe terrain with trading flag patterns so we can trade safely. Now what we need to do is execute the trading plan. I'll just go through this very briefly because there's a little bit more to it. But we only enter on the breakout of support and resistance. We then, step 2, we have to have an initial stop just in case something goes wrong. But what we then have, we have a first profit target. I call it P1. And this first profit target ensures that you will not let a profit turn into a loss. Okay, it's very important that you set a conservative profit target because you don't know exactly where the stock is going to go. But when it starts to get profitable for you and is forming a decent profit, for God's sake, let's keep hold of it. That's what we do when we set that P1. And at that P1 target, we can either raise our stop or we could even start to scale out of the position. And then the rest of it, we manage with our eyes with a trend line. And if it breaks the trend line, we get out of the trade and we keep our profit. That's as simple as it gets. Now, I want you to look at the forward from earlier this year. So this is an absolutely perfect illustration of what I'm talking about. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at that, and I want you to say, if you think that there is an OVI and bull flag combination, I want you to put up your hand right now. Okay, an OVI bull flag combination right now. This is exactly the pattern we're looking for. In fact, there was one right beforehand as well, right where my mouse is twirling around here. So we have a beautiful situation here. I think we're all in agreement. This is exactly what we're looking for. I mean, this trade is gonna make you the real deal, except for one thing. It didn't. It actually just turned over, and therefore, you're in a situation where you go, oh, that was such a great combination, it didn't work out. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that it never broke out, which means that you never made the trade in the first place. You might have had a trade, an order there, saying once we break out of this high, then I'm in, but it never did. So it means that you were never in, and so as the stock goes down, you didn't lose anything. The trade wasn't executed. No trade, no loss, even though it was such a great pattern. And that's one of the safety mechanisms involved in my particular method. Here's another one. Here's Phillips after its separation from Conoco. Again, we've got a very positive OVI. It's a little bit up and down, but it's all positive. None of it goes into negative territory, or hardly at all. And again, we've got a bull flag here. Just put up your hand here if you agree that we have an uptrend. If we have a bull flag and we have a positive OVI, let's have some hands on that one. Okay, it's a perfect situation. If it breaks out of that high, then we have a trade, potentially. And this is where it was. Back here, that's where that last pattern was, all the way back here at $40. And again, it just goes up, stays up, and even forms another one for us at $55 before going up to $65. In fact, it actually went up to $70, but we'd have been taken out at around $60. But still, a good, easy profit in a very short space of time. And we're just looking at these very simple combinations. If the combinations don't happen big, you don't need to trade. We're only looking for this one combination to form in as neat a way as possible, and then we can get busy. Here's Verizon earlier on this year. This is just about perfect. You've got clear resistance to 45 or just under $45. We've got an OVI that's turned positive and is staying positive for about 2 or 3 weeks at this point, and we've got a protracted bull flag which is hovering just under the $45 mark. So what you do is you put a buy stop order in just above $45, above this resistance, and you just go, well, look, if it catches, that's great. And guess what? After a little while, it did catch, and up it went. No drawdowns on this, low drawdowns on this one, and it went up and formed a great trade situation. Let's just go back on that one, and let's just have some hands on that one. Who likes this particular setup? Given what I've said so far, we've got clear resistance, we've got positive OVI hanging around in positive territory, which means position building is going on with the options, and we've got a nice neat pattern hovering underneath that resistance. And then this is exactly what happened. This is what we're talking about. Really good. By the way, big stocks, lots of volume, lots of options liquidity as well, and we're trading the stocks here. And if you want to trade the options, you can go deep in the money. That's another story entirely. But this is what we're looking for. We specialize in this. And it goes both ways as well, because here's US Steel earlier on this year as well. Downtrend, bear flag, negative OVI. Just put up your hands if you see that one as well. There it is. That's all we're looking for. It's all we're looking for. With the bearish ones there, they're usually not quite as clear, but this is pretty decent here. If it breaks the low here, we can get in on a short. And look what happened. It broke not once, but twice, formed two little flags quickly. OVI stayed negative, gives you a nice little easy trade. And the trend line ensures that you get to keep the profits that you want. If not, you won't keep 100% of them, but you get to keep a big portion of the profits, rather than sort of wondering when to get out and wondering when to take that profit and then allowing a profit to turn into a loss. And it's 13.5% in just 18 days. And, these are quite modest ones, really, compared to what we've done in the past. Here's a beauty here. Here's Yahoo, again, end of last year. Positive OVI for months. Nice bull flag here. Who likes this one? Just put up your hands if you like this one. I know there's a bias here for trading long rather than short, but let's just have a few hands here. Let's just have a look. Let's just see if I can see you. Okay, got some hands there. That's just a beautiful pattern there. That's exactly what we like to see, and that's it. Look at it there. I mean, it's almost doubled from that point here. Original bull flag, and it forms others along the way, and the OVI literally 99% time in positive territory, looking for it to be hanging around in this positive territory in order for us to be confident that there's position building going on. And it basically all boils down to this: trade what you see. Don't listen to the news and people like Jim Cramer, because they're there to entertain you and to confuse you and to get you keeping on watching. Just trade what you see. And what we see is flags and OBI. That's all I'm interested in seeing. And when you look at the markets in this way, you're going to cultivate some serious intuition for the markets. You're going to be able to look at a chart like this and go, you know what, I see some increased volatility here. OBI's turned negative for just one day. That's one swallow doesn't make a summer. But this was enough for me, having a little bit of experience, to say, you know what, this looks a bit wobbly at this point in time. Let's just see what happens. But I don't think this is a particularly bullish situation. And what happened was the market recovered from that. It bounced up, then started to then slide down again. This area here has formed a support point. It's now broken through this support point, forms another one, bounces up, which is now making this number 2 form some support. In the meantime, though, where I'm interested is this. My OBI has stayed negative. So this isn't the clue. It's number 2. As it bounces off number 2, the support at number 2, as it bounces off that, my OBI has been negative now for several weeks, meaning that this area here is a clear area of support below which you can short with a degree of confidence, because the OBI is not just negative, it stayed negative for a few weeks at that point in time. And here's what happened there. From number 2, down it goes even more. So 4 breakouts after the main OBI turned back here, but after number 2 you had some clear ones that you could actually trade, because you had this situation where position building was going on in a bearish way in the options markets, and then you just trade the actual pattern of the stock. So that's a very conservative, easy way to trade. But look, once these things go, they can go and make you some really good windfall profits very quickly. Here's a guy, Martin, who basically wrote in to tell me, or told my support people, they forwarded me this, that he said he loves me dearly because a sudden jump in Research in Motion. By the way, Research in Motion is now BlackBerry, but this is pre-BlackBerry days, and everything is now paid for. He says, a unique experience, the earth even moved. Now, I'm not used to fellas saying that to me, but in the context of trading, I'll take that. But here's what happened to him. We have a downtrend here with Research in Motion. This is a couple of years ago. A downtrend here, forming at last a tradable bull flag with months of negative OBI. And if you just tell me who likes that pattern there. This is what we look for. This is exactly what we're looking for here. If it's not forming that, I'm not as interested, because this is the easy pattern. This is going to be the highest probability of a successful trade, and again, it dropped by $20 or half in the next 2 months. But the pattern was there, the OBI was there, it was absolutely perfect, and I'm happy to wait for those particular opportunities to come along, and then I'm prepared to go in on those ones. Here's one guy who doubled up in one trade. This is Google a couple of years ago again, and again, just a very simple trade. But basically, here's a bull flag where my mouse is, which is coming after a good 2 or 3 weeks of positive OBI, and if he missed that one, he got into this one, and then he was able to take some profits and then hang on for after earnings, which is a little bit naughty, but it's okay, because he'd already bagged his profits at a certain amount of profits at this point, and then he was able to take advantage of the next gap up. But look, again, what you've got here is bull flag, probably another bull flag here, and another one here, albeit right before earnings, but positive OBI all the way. And this is just what we look for. If they don't happen, we don't need to do anything. Here's a guy who just began with us, 5 out of 5 positive trades right at the very beginning. And again, he just gets the simplicity of what we're looking for. Here's Anita, who took 75%, using spread betting, but 75% in 6 weeks, taking a small account, just 1,800 to 3,300, and 75% in just 6 weeks. Again, just trading flag patterns on the OBI on stocks and indices. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. Just focus on the obvious, as I've taught it to you. a bull flag or an approach of resistance with a positive OBI, which is hanging around for at least 5 days, or a bear flag or approach of support with a negative OBI for around the 5-day mark. Just hanging around there. That's the edge. It is a dead simple method. It is quick, and it is very, very safe as well when you do it the way that I teach it. Here's one guy who just got it. I mean, he just literally gets it. He knows that when he sees a bunch of these things, that's when he can pounce. So he says, when I see the really clear ones, and he says, I can see when I see several of them at once. Because when several of them happen at once, you're basically seeing the market making a statement. And it says first 10 trades yield 9 winners. So 9 out of 10 winners is pretty good. So, going back to the beginning, what we were saying there are 2 types of guided discretionary trader. Remember, these are the traders who follow a method, but we place our trades independently. We're not following a system that says, do this now, do that now. You have a method, you learn the method, and now it's up to you to implement that method. The first type of trader, which includes me, has adequate time for homework. They've got maybe 20 minutes or a bit more time to do that on a daily basis. But the second type of trader, which also includes me, is when we don't have that much time for doing the homework. We've only got 5 or 10 minutes to do this. That also includes me, and I suspect that all of you, or all of us in this particular webinar, have a bit of this and a bit of that as well. Because life is life, and my training systems are designed for real life, and my real life to that extent as well. So sometimes we have time, sometimes we don't. So I'm going to talk about the people who don't have that much time to do something, but really want to get in the market and play on that. And that's what the $10 challenge is all about. It's about making money safely, but with the opportunity for windfall profits, because when you trade flags and the OBI in this way, we get to be able to participate in a trend, and that trend may just go on and on and on in certain cases, and those are the cases where your batting averages go up enormously. Can you do it in 10 minutes a day? Absolutely, you can, using the right tools. Trading with the OBI. Now, trading with the OBI is literally a simple step-by-step approach where the hard work is done for you. You are not tied to your screens, and it's proven and it's safe. People have been doing it for years. I have people who have literally been with me for 8 and more years as this has gone on, and we've developed. And the way that I develop my stuff is all my stuff is developed for me, for my use, and you just get to participate in it with me. And what that means is we're continually improving things, continually making things better and better, more precise, more accurate, and easier to use on mobile devices and other things. That's what the OBI Traders Club is all about. If you want to specialize in a method, using it for just 10 minutes a day, and you can specialize in, you can actually use as many stocks as you like, but we like to use this area to specialize in about 40 OBI stocks. So you get to know the market, really big stocks, get to know them very well, and out of that 40 stocks, usually every week there are a couple of trades or a couple of things to do, and that's plenty for most people. So the OBI Traders Club includes a private website where you can look at these stocks. You can look at any stocks you like, but we focus our attentions on 40 in particular. You get access to the OBI charts, which is like this, and the value of that is tends to be about $97 a month or $1,164 per annum. But remember, no one else in the world has the OBI. So the value of it is more than the price we put on it. Now, here's another bit that we've put in recently, and that is that we are now able to do all this from our tablets, even phones, but tablets is a little bit better, which means that anywhere in the house you may be, or if you're in your car and have a good signal, you can look at these charts from there. Now, why did I do that? Because I need that. I'm not always at my desk, so these things are built for me. So the comfort of anywhere, you've got that. Not only that, but the OBI Traders Club also has what's called the OBI dashboard. That gives you a market summary of how many flags are forming, whether they're bullish in blue or bearish in red, and whether there's combinations of the OBI and these flags, negative or positive. And once you click on one of these buttons, you get a bigger area, which then shows you what the particular filter combinations are, how many patterns are conforming, bullish or bearish, and you actually then get to see the individual stocks that are forming those numbers. That's really, really useful stuff. And there's also a complete education suite to go with that as well, including videos and articles, etc. So very concise and very focused on this. We're very specialized with what we do. Here's a guy who talks about this method fitting around his other commitments. So he's taken a trade on Bank of America, taken a quick first profit within a few minutes. But he's talking about what's really exciting about this. He says it fits around his current commitments. Now, I'm a busy guy. I'm doing software development all the time. I'm always researching the markets, and I have more time dedicated to the research that I'm doing to improve things than the actual implementation of it. And that suits me very well. Again, this is designed for my use, and I don't want to be stuck staring at my screens all day, and I suspect that a lot of you don't either. So the OVI trader doesn't just have that, it also has bonus filters. Now, what if the market is producing no flags? Sometimes that will happen. Well, I also have a really phenomenal professional trading reversal filter combination. This is really, really good. I'll show you a couple of testimonials on that in just a minute. And for those of you who may have heard of William O'Neill and his Kanzler method, I have basically approximated that also in the OVI Traders Club as well. So you get to access stocks that conform to William O'Neill's Kanzler. You can also see whether they're conforming to an OVI pattern as well. And again, we've got this reversal filter as well, which is phenomenal. Now, that reversal filter, I want to talk to you about two fellas, Sam and Richard Taylor, father and son combination. They started with my stuff with reversals, then they graduated onto OVI stuff as well. They started with reversals. I got this email from them a year or two ago. I can't remember exactly when, but they said, thank you so much. We've got bread on the table now. We've got 9 trades and 9 wins. We're very happy. From then, in the next 14 weeks, using spread betting, so they used quite a lot of leverage in the UK to trade US stocks, they multiplied their account by 10-fold on this. And what they did was they were kind of each other's judge, if you like, judge and jury. They held each other accountable to their trades, and these guys never actually traded before, and they've become very, very successful at doing what they do. Here's Buffy, who literally this year in July 2013 wrote me an email. I'll read it out to you, but basically she's loving the OVI method, but she also focused on the doji reversal method. That's my reversal method I just showed you. And she talks about people, being able to make money trading if they keep their eyes open, etc., etc. And she's just very grateful for what happened there. But 30,000 profit in July. Yes, she does have a big account, but again, that's pretty good stuff. While we're talking about the reversals or Kanzler filters, Kanzler is a trending filter. Here's the kind of trade that you might find on that one. When you combine the Kanzler William O'Neill filter that I have, or the results in that I have, with the OVI and flag combination. If you look at UHS, again, earlier this year, we have that as those situations where flags are forming, OVI is positive, and we have then breakouts. So you can combine William O'Neill's technique with my technique too, and that's a nice cross combination on that one. Now, the OVI Traders Club it doesn't stop there, because it also involves video tutorials. So when you sign up, you'll get emails from us saying, look at this tutorial, look at that tutorial. You can go at your own pace. You can go fast as you like, or as slow as you like. Again, short videos explaining the method and lots of examples, giving you lots of experience. And we also have, references that you can read as well, so a quick reference library as well. And again, the value of that is a minimum of $497. Now, if you're interested, even at this point in time, I'm going to show you how to get into it. I'm just going to send you a little message right now with a link, which is a special link with Steve's initials on it here as well. So it's HTTP // you can actually omit that part and put in bit.ly /OTC, that's OVI Traders Club, OTC, BLW 10. And I'll tell you why that's relevant in just a second. But the OVI Traders Club does not just involve that, because And here's the value of what you got so far. You've got the charts and the dashboard for the OVI. You've got the reversal filters, and you've got O's. You've also got the online tutorials and online libraries. So total value of over $2,500. But what most people really want is access to me. You also get access to me. We do regular webinars where we cover new trading opportunities, current market conditions, new strategies. And when I say new strategies, by the way, we're talking about enhancements to what we do. Well, I'm not going to come up to you and say to you, oh, I found the new secret to X, Y, Z. We're not like that. We focus on one thing, and we focus our energy on making it better and better and better. That's how you know it's authentic. If you have people saying they've got a different method of trading, every 3 months, as it happens to be, then it's nonsense. You can't be that great at trading unless you specialize. That is that's just the way it is. And at these forums and these meetings, you can ask me anything you like. I'm pretty approachable, and we have a chat. So the value of that one is, creeping up to $2,000 just to get that kind of access to me and get that kind of specialist knowledge. You're never alone in the OVI Traders Club because there's a forum there, and it's a pretty helpful, friendly forum there as well. It's going to be about $500, and you also get access to support that I'm very hot on. You've got Casey, you've got Charlie, you've got Sid, you've got Harold, you've got me as your support while you're in the OVI Traders Club as well. And again, if you can use that link or type in this link, you can get there right away. But I want to show you something in just a second as to how this is going to be really, really useful for you. Here's Bill. Bill now manages money. He doubled his account in a 6-week period from $26,500 to $50,000. And again, he talks about the support, which is, again, very important to me. So we take it very seriously. Here's Richie again. You saw him earlier from Manchester in England. He doubled his account or trebled his account in the month of June, but over 18 months, using spread betting, using quite a lot of leverage, he increased his account from 2,500 to 1,900. That's like 800% increase in just 18 months. And here's Graham. Now, Graham tests trading systems. This is exactly what he does, and he took £20,000 out of the market in 9 weeks of trading. Again, he tests these systems. That's what he does for a living. So with all that, what you've got here is you've got the access to the unique OVI and O'Neill's stuff and tutorials and webinars with me and forum and support, and that's going to take you up to a value of well over $5,000. But what we normally do is we have this available to you for just over $1,000 per annum. So $97 per annum, $97 per month makes $1,164 per annum. But tonight, and at Steve's special request, we're going to give you a little challenge. And the challenge is that just for $10 for the first month, you can do this in 10 minutes a day. So the first month, using this link, you will get the OVI Traders Club for that first month for only $10. Just $10 for that first month. And all you have to do is use that link. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just type it in for you again. Let's just make sure we get that over to you. Just all you have to do is in your chat box, you'll see the link. All you have to do is press on it, or you just type out this link here, so bit.ly/OTC BLW10, and that gets you into the $10 trial. Why $10? Well, because it's something that I know you will like, and it gives you a nice, easy introduction to it. It's a no-brainer for you. It's a no-brainer for me. So $10 for the first month. One thing I would ask you to do is, if you go and do this right now, also make sure in your email that you allow emails to come from us, specifically to noreply@flagtrader.com, that's flag-trader.com, and also support@flag-trader.com. Just make sure we're in your safe senders list so that you get the emails as we send them out to you, because as soon as you sign up, you'll be getting emails pointing you to the direction of the video tutorials, where you can look at these short video tutorials and know exactly what to do. So that is the $10 challenge tonight. That's the link, bit.ly/OTC BLW10. $10 for the first month. And I usually say it's the first 10 applicants, but I haven't done this for a little while, so I'm just going to say while this session is on, this is the offer that will stand. I know there's going to be some Q&As. Steve, I'm sure you've seen some questions popping up here. So what I'm going to do is, because I know the demand is going to be big, I'm going to put a little countdown on here right now. Steve, I'm going to open up the floor to questions. So hopefully you are still here. And I'm happy to answer the questions that you've got.
Okay, I'm trying to see. Yeah, can you hear me? I have a hard time figuring out how the darn system works where I can see the questions.
Steve, I can help you out with that one.
Okay.
I'll help you out with that whilst you're figuring out. Now, here's a popular question I get, and it's come again. I mean, these questions are very familiar to me, so maybe I can help you out here. We've got, Alan has asked here, what charts do I need for the OVI? Well, the OVI charts are on the OVI Traders website. You don't download anything. There is no downloads to do whatsoever. It's all there. You don't need anything else. All you need is your broker account. But apart from that, that's all you need. So there's no extra software to get. There's no data to buy. It's all there on you, all there for you right there and then. Another question here from Jeanette is, how long do we get on the OVI Traders Club? Well, 1 month for $10. And then after that month, it will kick into a $97 per month subscription, which is, I think, really good value, considering there is no other thing like the OVI anywhere else in the retail trader world. I think it's a phenomenal thing. Plus, you get the O'Neill, plus you're getting all the other bits and pieces as well. It's a heck of a lot you're getting, but it's not overwhelming. I want to make that point very clear. It's not overwhelming. We are focusing on one specific trading method, unless you also want to learn about the reversals, but so 2 trading methods at most, and we're not there to overwhelm you. There to make this very simple and doable in around 10 minutes a day. So we found that over 80% of our members will stay for over a year. So this just makes a lot of sense for us and for you as well. But I want to make it. There is no charge for data. There is no charge for the charts. Nothing else. This is all inclusive. Steve, have you got any for me there? Or otherwise, I can keep on filtering through the questions.
You keep filtering it because I can't. I always have a hard time with this.
I know there's comments and there's comments and questions. We got to kind of fish our way through the comments and the hellos and the nice, generous comments, by the way, that you guys make. But we'll filter through those, and also the actual questions as well. So this is Jeff in Oregon is saying, I'm a beginner. Is this suitable for me? And I'm going to answer this in 2 parts, actually. Yes. I mean, this is a very simple system to use. Obviously, the OVI is very complicated. It's very sophisticated. I won't deny that. But using the OVI is really simple, and I think we showed this adequately tonight. So, is it suitable for a beginner? Absolutely. I mean, you can be doing this in 10 minutes a day. I have loads of customers who have been with me for years who started off with nothing and started off as absolute ranked beginners. By the same token, I always have advanced traders as well who say, is this suitable for me? Well, I would consider myself to be reasonably advanced, and it's definitely suitable for me because I created it for myself. So I think that probably answers the question, and I hope that answers the question enough for you. If you are a sophisticated and experienced trader, you will know the value of something that you can implement simply, because it's not about trying to confuse yourself. It's about establishing clarity on when to trade and how to trade and getting it done, because there's nothing like confusion to mess up a trading account. So that's that one. What account size is enough to start? Well, it's a really good question because it depends where you live. If you live in the UK, you can have a really tiny account and do phenomenally well with this because you've got spread betting and lots of leverage. If you're in the US, we have had documented, reported successes from accounts with literally from $1,000 up, focusing on very low price stocks. I would prefer that you had more than 2,000 to even 5 if possible, but yeah, I'd prefer that. But, you know, we've had successes really from a very large range of portfolio sizes. We've got millionaires in our trading club. We've also got people who are just starting out with a couple of thousand as well. So it's a very diverse audience that we have, and very loyal student base as well. In fact, we had a survey done on our members, and we had the most loyal fan base and subscriber base that the surveyor had actually seen ever. So this is something about this method, what it does and how it does it. There's another question here, and it says options are a little scary, aren't they? And I want to say, no, they're not, because we're not doing anything about options. We're not trading options in this particular method. Using the intelligence of we're options traders, but we're not actually having to trade options ourselves. We're just using the OVI to spy on or to see what potential hidden transactions are going on, and we're using that OVI reading to make our trades in the stocks. Now, that said, if you want to trade options on it, yes, you can do that too. You can trade deep in the money. So, but no, options are not scary in this context because we're not having to trade them. What we are having to do, there's another question here, what we are having to do though, is that we are focusing on US stocks. Now, I suspect that most of you guys are in the US, so we are focusing on that, and that's the reason for that is because we need there to be liquidity in the stocks, liquidity in the options in order to get a good OVI reading. So I just want to remind you guys as well, if you want to go ahead, and I would urge you to do that because this is an offer for Steve's group exclusively. That's why we have this special little link here. I've just typed it in the chat box again, but it's bit.ly/OTC BLW10. BLW10. So, next question. Steve, I'm racing ahead with the questions here. Can I use the OVI for UK stocks? No, it's US. It's US stocks only. I got another question here. I'm going to indulge it, even though it's a little bit off topic. Are the markets going up or down right now? Well, who wants a little bit of market chat whilst we're here? I think we may as well do that. Let's put some hands. Anyone want a tiny bit of market chat while we're here? Okay, we've got some hands there. Okay, whilst we're, it's a tiny bit off topic here. But basically what we have here, and I've been saying it for many weeks, is that we had quite a big retracement over the last few weeks, which has been followed by a very good recovery. So as the market has recovered, gold and silver has gone down. As the market was suffering, gold and silver was going up. You've got that inverse correlation relationship going on there. And what I said a few weeks ago was that it potentially looked as if there could be a head and shoulders that was going to form in the S&P and the Dow in particular. Now we're at that point right now where we made a high a little while back, we came down, we made a higher high, that came down, and now so that formed the first shoulder and the new head. And now we're right in that zone where we could, I say could, be forming another shoulder, or not, as the case may be. Now, the question is, what's going to happen next? Well, we shouldn't and can't make predictions on exactly what's going to happen next. If you start getting into the prediction game, you will lose money. There's no question about it. So what we do is we look for patterns within patterns. So right now we're sitting at a point where we might be about to form a head and shoulders bearish pattern. Having said that, we might be about to start kicking on and doing better. If you want to look at a stock right now that's forming a bullish pattern with a positive OVI, you'd be looking at something like Ford. Ford is a good one. It's not a recommendation, by the way. It's not a recommendation, but this is Ford right now. You can see on my chart. I don't know whether you can see that, but hopefully you can. But actually, there's another bar here on the Ford chart. This is going to be updated, and it's actually forming a bull flag cup and handle pattern as we speak with a positive OVI for the last few days, and actually it only went down for a day or so here That's not enough to worry me. But Ford has been looking pretty interesting. All it needs to do is break through this resistance. But that's the kind of pattern that I would look for. And it's one of the only decent ones in the market right now anyway. So that's the market chat. Hopefully that has satisfied your curiosity for that. Sorry about my throat, by the way. I am almost at the end of my throat's capabilities for tonight. But that's the question of, are the markets going up or down right now? Next question. Is the OBI a leading indicator or a lagging indicator? Well, I think, let's put up some hands here. Who says it's leading? Okay, let's have some hands. Leading indicator for the OBI. I'll tell you what it is. It is a leading indicator. It's a leading indicator if you use it in the context of a breakout. Because the consolidation happens first, and the OBI is also showing you at the same time whether the pressure in the options market. So to that extent, it is a leading indicator when used correctly. So yes, and ultimately, it's the strength of any indicator is, does it work? Is there correlation? Is there, are there statistics behind it that show that this actually works? Now, if you look, some statistics that we've done, if you look at flag patterns and trade them on a one-to-one basis in terms of your profit is 1 and your loss is 1, so you're not going to skew the odds by saying profit 1, potential loss 10, because that's just a ridiculous thing to do, and yet so many people advertise systems like that. I think that's a crazy way to go about things. But let's just say that you had a 1-for-1, so it's either a flip of a coin, you win or you lose the same amount. Flag patterns of this nature typically will go about a third will be winners. Now, depending on certain market conditions and other bits and pieces with the trading plan. Now, when we put our old flag patterns in there, we were able to increase that to 55%, but the actual amount of winner versus the average win versus average loss was about the same. When we put our new flag into the equation, we were now up to 60%, with our average win being 40% greater than our average loss. Then we added the OBI. When we added the OBI, we had a reduction in the number of trades, which was handy because you don't want to be over trading. But what happened was with the new flag patterns that we actually filtered for and the OBI, we were getting mid-60s%, so 2/3 of the trades were winners, and each win was at least 50 to 59% greater than each loss. And actually, when we started to play with the trading plan, each winner was double the amount of each loser as well. So you had twice as many winners of losers, and each winner was double the amount of each loser. So statistically, we've done the research on this over a big period of time to see what we can do with it. So ultimately, what I'm getting to there is that we focus on these patterns, we focus on the OBI readings, and we focus on a trading plan that's very safe. And that's, and it is ultimately the OBI can be seen as a leading indicator. But again, it's all about quality, not quantity. Next. Can market makers have an effect on our system? I would say no, because they can't see us, but we can sort of see them. Our trades can't be necessarily looked at in the markets and said, oh, that's an OBI trade, because they can't see what we're looking at necessarily. So I would say that we're looking for a certain set of circumstances in the market, and they don't, you might be doing something different to the person next door who's using the same system. You're both trading the same method, but because it's guided discretionary, you might be trading one stock and the other one might prefer another stock. So yeah, our activities are not really going to be watched and seen, and besides which, it has to be happening on such a scale for it to be something that people would notice anyway. And I suspect that most of you guys are trading in the tens or the dozens or maybe a few hundred stocks at a time, not the millions of stocks at a time that would make the real difference. So with that one, do not get paranoid about people looking at your trades and trying to screw things up for you. I promise you, it doesn't happen. It really, really doesn't. Steve, have you got any more? We've got about 6 minutes to go till the bell rings. Any other questions that you've got at this point? I'm going to go rifle through some more.
You rifle, as I say, I'm very bad at this system as far as.
Okay. No, after the first month is a charge automatic. Yes, it is, but you can Jose says after the first month is the charge automatic. It is, but you can write in and cancel at any time. We honor the refund. We honor that system. So it's basically a monthly system. So if you say, well, after a few months, I want to stop for whatever reason, you can stop at any time. There's no, you don't have to be there for a certain amount of time. We're very friendly, but we also know that 80% will stay on anyway. So we're very relaxed and we're very cool about that as well. Someone's mentioning that Alberta is sunny. I'm not sure. Are options trades suggested? Bob, that's from you. No, we don't. We don't recommend recommendations on this particular application. What we do is we teach you how to find these things. They're right there in front of you every day. I mean, literally, it is dead simple. It will take you 10 minutes a day to get this thing. People in our subscribe base, this is the thing they love the most, and this is the biggest no-brainer. They have control over what they're doing, but they are very focused as to what they're looking at, and they just literally stick to. We do extra analysis on 40 very popular liquid, high capitalization stocks, and that's what they focus on. There's nothing going on there. They say, well, I'll move on for another day. So it's that goes on, and this is just the biggest no-brainer out there, especially for $10 for the first month. Can I cancel after the first month? That is Jitsu. Yes, you can. I hope that you wouldn't join in order just to do that, because that's not really what we're all about. But yes, if you want to, yes, you can do that with no penalty. Let's have a look. Can I run a watch list through the flag finder, or do I have to enter them one at a time? Well, basically, the way the OBI Traders Club works is that the list is there, and you just go through the list of OBI stocks. So basically, you see it on your screen right now. This list of stocks is there, and you just literally pump through those every day. It takes about 10 minutes, including to put any trades on if you want to, and it's very, very simple. I mean, really, really dead simple to do. Can you look at open interest? Oh, well, that's a good question. Well, look, in the OBI, there are three components. There's implied volatility, option volume, and open interest, and they are meshed together in a certain way to bake a cake that looks like that line that goes up and down. So that's part of it, but not all of it. So you could have positive open interest with calls, but the OBI might be negative at some points. So it's not as simple as it looks, but it's very simple to actually do this. Let's have a look at some more questions here. Okay, I don't understand that particular question. Sorry about that. Do you cover the metals, gold, silver, the ETFs? Yes, we do. Gold and silver are there. And sometimes, silver and gold become very obvious. I mean, let me show you one. I'll show you silver. That happened quite recently. It was pretty easy. Let's just have a look at that one. But again, there are times where it's just dead simple. I mean, this little flag here was simple. It goes up, and literally you'll be out with this trend line. But a little pop-up that's very easy, or a break of support as well. Look, the OBI, positive, 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 up it goes. Yes, it's come off now, but you're out of the trade already on that one. You're already out of that particular trade. And the same goes with gold as well. So, yes, we do cover those. But you have to understand that it's better with stocks anyway, because that's where you might just be getting some insider stuff going on as well. Kramer is an indicator, i.e. do the opposite. Bob, I'm with you there, I've got to say. I think that is a good comment. Do you provide buy, sell, entry, exit points? In this area, no, we don't, but we make it really easy for you to know exactly what you should be doing. I mean, really, it's very clear. That is sort of almost steering in the point of advice unless you're doing an automated system, but this is a guided discretionary system. Could this also be applied to commodities? That's Mercy. it could be, but again, I think we're looking at sort of our edges, what is going on with with people who know something about a particular stock. That is, please review MasterCard with your indicator. I will indulge you. Bad Rush, it's not really what I want to do, but I will indulge you on this one. We'll have a quick look at MasterCard and see if there's anything here. I don't really want to go reviewing lots of other stocks. I want to ask you questions on this. But basically, let's have a look at what we got here. What I'd like it to do is maybe form a bull flag. This is from yesterday. We haven't quite populated this data. Happens about midnight New York time. It'll get populated. But yes, you've got a very good positive OVI. Let's have a quick look at my live chart situation. Let's have a look at that. See what happened today. Okay, what I would like to happen on this one, Badrash, is I would like it to form some kind of flag at some point, some kind of consolidation. But this looks pretty good. It looks pretty strong as we see it right now, without making any predictions on that. It certainly looks like it's going up at this moment in time. Do you use stocks only or use options? Well, again, I think I've answered that one quite a few times. We're doing it for stocks, but you can use deep in the money options to do this if you like. Bill has asked, does it apply to intraday charts? You could refine your entry point to intraday, but I don't tend to do that. That's the little alarm going off. I will keep I will keep everything open for you while we're still here and talking. Steve, if you'll indulge, I'll try and get through a few more questions if I can. If you're there, I don't know
no problem.
Here,
yep. Take your time.
Yeah, we'll just try and get. How do you determine support? I think determine support. That's St. Buck. Determined support is, it's basically, I think I've already answered that question actually in the presentation, but support is defined for me in the simplest terms as a low that forms. So that would be a support. How do you scan the flags? Well, we basically show you, the actual software shows you whether there's a flag forming, or you can look at it by eye, because by the time you've watched the videos where I teach you and you see flag after flag after flag after flag, you will know what is a flag just by your eye. That is the way we do it on this particular membership. Let's have a look. I'm having trouble accessing the website to enroll. Let me just try and do that myself, just to make sure that it does work. I think it does. Some people are having some difficulties. Let's just have a look. Bits.l. Yeah, that's working okay. This is what you should be seeing when you type in or use that link, bit.ly. It might take a couple of seconds to populate, but there it is. That's the page, and it's come up quite nicely. So I don't think that's an issue on that one. Let's go back to the presentation. Is this going to be recorded? I have recorded it. Steve's recorded it as well. That's it. Is this for all stocks or just a few, Gary? It's for all, but we focus on just a few because that's the whole point of the $10 of the 10-minute per day, is you get to know 40 stocks phenomenally well, and you'll be able to build a relationship with those stocks. That's the point of it. But you're not necessarily stuck to that. We're very flexible about how we do this. Let's have a look. Are there any more? Someone's asking me if I've got an Australian accent, why I haven't got one. It's because I'm not Australian. I'm English, and I flew out to Australia just a couple of days ago I will tell you, and for a rather sad event. But anyway, I'm here, and then I fly back to London on Sunday. What are the components of the OVI? Oggi Di Francesco. Oggi. The components are, as I said, it's open interest, it's option volume, and it's implied volatility, and that is created simplified into just that line, and that means we get a good indication of what the options people are doing. But do not use the OVI on its own. You use it with a chart pattern. Why? Because options transactions are sometimes involved with hedging activity. We're not looking for hedging activity. We're looking for position building. How do we know or get a better idea that position building might be going on? By the chart pattern combined with the options activity. It's a very logical way of looking at it. What we're looking for